What is up, my buttery biscuits? So in today's video, as you guys can tell, obviously by the title of the video, we're going to be discussing Sephora. And I know that the title probably seems a little bit harsh and you guys are just ready to hit that thumbs down button, but I do ask that you continue watching the video because there are some key details in here that I really want you guys to hear before forming an opinion about what's going on with Sephora right now. And I'm just really irritated about the situation, and I wanted to lay everything out there because I know everyone's going to judge what's going on with, oh, this is what businesses need to do to survive and obviously not go bankrupt during this time. But y'all, I have some key details that may change your mind on that. So we're going to get into that in the video and explain why I think Sephora is trash. I just can't even believe. If you guys are a Sephora part-time employee, I'm really, really sorry for what's going on right now. But there might be a light at the end of the tunnel. We'll obviously get into that at the end of the video. Anyways, you guys, if you guys are new here, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button, turn on your post notifications so that way you guys get notified when I upload a new video. Make sure you guys give my video a big thumbs up if you guys do like it. It really does help me out within the algorithm, and I would appreciate that. So let's just go ahead and jump right on into the video. So I don't know if you guys know this by now. I think I'm a little early to this. I'm sure other people have obviously talked about it. News articles are talking about it as well too. I'm going to get into the details of what's happening with Sephora first and what they are doing, and then I'm going to get into my opinions, and I really strongly encourage you guys to watch that far along. I know I ramble, I know I talk a lot, and there's some letters in here that are really, really long, so I do apologize if it takes a while for me to get there, but it's some really important things that you guys have to hear before forming an opinion about things. So in the beginning of all the quarantining and the stay safer at home orders got implemented, and all stores and restaurants and all that had to close, Sephora had came out with a statement saying that they were going to be closing their stores on March 17th. And this is the statement that they wrote. They said, "Dear Sephora community, for the health and safety of our employees and clients, we have made the decision to close all of our stores in the US and Canada at 5 p.m. local time tomorrow, March 17th through April 3rd. All store employees will continue to receive their base pay for scheduled shifts for the duration of this closure. In addition, health and wellness benefits for employees who are currently enrolled will continue. We appreciate your understanding and patience and loyalty during this time and invite you to continue shopping with us at Sephora.com. We are waiving standard shipping fees until April 3rd. To redeem this, use code FREESHIP." So obviously, you know, they're still open for business. They're still trying to make some money. However, now that I'm filming this video on April 1st right now, it just came out yesterday that they let go of all of their part-time and seasonal employees on a conference call after saying that they were going to be taking care of them for the duration of this closure. And this is the thing, look, I know a lot of you guys are already jumping the gun and saying, you know what, businesses can't obviously afford to continue paying their employees when they're not making revenue. When the store is not open, how do you continue paying them? I totally understand that argument, and I totally get that for small businesses and for indie brands and things like that. I totally get that. But we're going to get into the details of how much money Sephora makes in revenue per year and how much money the CEO is worth, okay? That's what I really want to talk about today, and I understand everyone's going to jump the gun and say, well, Tim, you know what? They have to do this to obviously survive. They're going to go bankrupt if they're continuing paying their employees while not making any revenue. But that's where greed kicks in. So anyways, like I said, it came out yesterday, March 31st. This is a super, super long letter, and I want to apologize in advance. You guys know when I'm reading a long letter, I stutter a lot, okay? Like, this is a really, really long letter that Sephora let out. Let me take a drink of water before reading that because it's long. So this is the letter that they had put out, I guess, to everyone who was not on the conference call or didn't hear about the conference call. Okay, here we go. Super long. Wish me luck. Let's hope I don't stutter too much. To our beauty community, we hope that you and your loved ones are staying healthy and safe during this challenging time. I am writing today to share the steps and tough decisions we have made to ensure our business is prepared to navigate this environment and strengthen our ability to ultimately welcome our beauty community back to our stores. Earlier, we had relayed that our stores will be closed through Friday, April 3rd. They will now remain closed until we can responsibly welcome back clients and staff based on guidance from the public health authorities. So here in California specifically right now, by the way, they're saying that we're extending our closure until April 30th, but that could change for the US as a whole within time. We don't really know. We believe keeping stores closed is the right thing to do, but it means we have to make changes to our business while keeping our employees informed of what the changes mean for them. Like many retailers with an extensive physical store business, there are tough decisions to be made and adapt to an unprecedented and uncertain environment. In the US, we have made the difficult decision to let go a portion of our part-time and seasonal store employees. Okay, This is the thing, though. I heard that it was all of them. I think that they're just kind of, sugarcoat it within their letter, but I have heard that it's all of them. And judging based upon the articles that I've read too, it's all seasonal and part-time employees. If you guys are currently employed with Sephora, please let me know if you guys know the actual details on that, because I heard it is all of them. Okay, where am I at? Okay. The impacted employees are ones who have been with our company for a short tenure of time and worked limited hours. They all have been offered a severance and provided with resources to support their transition, including coordination with companies that provide essential services and may be hiring at this time. So basically what that means is, like, say for example, like all the grocery stores right now, they're hiring extra staff, so they probably put them in contacts with that company to help them get a job. It's our hold on, they're hiring at this time. Okay, it's our sincerest hope that we are able to bring them back in the near future. For our 9,000 plus remaining U.S. store employees, which represent the vast majority of our total U.S. employees, we have been able to ensure they will be paid 100% based on average hours worked and existing health benefits through late May or until our stores reopen, whichever happens sooner. This includes all of our full-time store employees and licensed beauty advisors. To support these decisions, we have implemented measures across the business at our corporate headquarters to responsibly manage costs and ensure resources are going towards our people whenever possible. We have also made a significant incremental contribution to our Sephora Stands Together Fund, which provides emergency financial assistance to employees in need. We believe these actions taken together will support the long-term health of our business, protect our people, and preserve our ability to reopen our stores when that time comes. Thank you again for your loyalty and support. Sincerely, Jean So-So, the CEO of Sephora. Now, see, this is the thing we're going to talk about. There's a CEO of Sephora, and then there's the owner of Sephora, which is owned by LVMH. LVMH is a Louis Vuitton business-based brand, which is the richest beauty brand in the entire world. And this brand is worth, the owner of the brand is worth $98 billion. He's the third richest man in the world, okay? And this is what I want to get into, because I want to talk about Sephora as a whole. Obviously, we know Sephora is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, makeup stores in the entire world, but also who they're owned by, okay? Now, speaking about Sephora solely, okay, not speaking about LVMH, Sephora as a whole for 2019 made $4 billion in revenue, you guys, in 1 year. $4 billion. Get that in your head, okay? Revenue, because we have to keep that in mind, because basically what revenue means is the total take home. So that's money taken out of obviously paying their employees, paying for rent, paying for product, paying for the website, paying for all those things. That is revenue. That is money made. $4 billion, okay? And this is the thing that I understand. There's people on here. Okay, look, like even on Twitter, I got one of these comments. I'm not going to put it up on there. I don't want, anything to go back to this person. But a comment like this, and I saw several of them. I'm trying to defend big corporations and what they do, but keeping on lots of staff when all your stores are closed is really hard and could cause most of these corporations to go bankrupt before the end of the quarantine. And that's the thing that I 100% completely understand. If you guys like watch my videos, a few, like what was it, 3 or 4 videos like in the past, I had mentioned my friend Cynthia. She works for Sears, and Sears actually shut down, and they are not paying their employees. And here's the thing is, look, so Sears is rich, but they are, like, I think within the past year, they closed like 300 locations. They're slowly going out of business. So it makes sense for them to not be able to afford to pay their employees, even though low-key, I do think that they could afford to pay their employees during this time. But obviously, they're on the decline. They're going out of business. They're nowhere near as rich as the LVMH brand or Sephora. And I think that when a brand like Sephora, who makes $4 billion in revenue in 1 year, when they can't pay their employees, they have to let them go. That is just, it makes me so mad, okay? And also, I want to read this to you too, you guys, which I stumbled across in some article online. It says the LVMH brought in a record-breaking $59 billion in revenue in 2019. They own so many brands. You guys can go ahead and do a little Google search to see what LVMH owns, and one of the brands that they own is Sephora. The CEO, Bernard Arnault, the world's third richest man, who's built a $98 billion fortune, is the luxury giant. This is the thing that infuriates me about the whole situation. Also, before we get into that, okay, there's little brands out there who are still paying their people. Like, let's give a shout out to Jeffree Star, right? Like, straight up, Jeffree Star is rich. We know he's rich, but is he worth $98 billion? No, he is not. Nowhere near it. Actually, I don't even think he's crossed the $1 billion mark yet, you know? And here he is, he's paying his staff, and he's over here giving out $30,000 here, giving out $5,000 there, giving out $5,000 there. He is doing cash giveaways every single day on Twitter. And he's nowhere near worth $98 billion. And this is where I say Sephora is trash as a whole, because it's just grimy of them to do something like this in such a terrible time. Like, look how many people they're employed, but then now these people are obviously fearing like, oh my God, what am I going to do? How am I going to make the money when you have somebody who's worth $98 billion? If you guys are on my live feed, we talk about this quite a few times, I feel like. And what is the purpose of somebody having $98 billion? What is the purpose? It's just greed. There is no need for that amount of money. What is he doing with all that? I'm sure he owns islands, he owns stores, he probably owns hotels, he probably owns casinos. Like, he owns everything, I'm sure. So why do you need that money when people over here are obviously going to end up starving? They're going to end up losing their houses. They're going to end up losing their cars. They're going to be losing so much, and you're sitting over there with $98 billion in the bank. That's where I get frustrated, and that's where I wanted to explain and emphasize the point to you guys that I 100% understand. If a small business has to close down and they can't afford to pay their employees, it's totally understandable. They're a small business. And speaking of which, too, Marlena actually replied to a comment of Dustin Daly's, who, if you guys don't know, he's a drama channel here on YouTube as well. And she responded to that. She said, we're paying our employees for the month and letting everyone who can work from home. We closed doors before it was mandated, hoping to open our warehouse in April so we can continue supporting them. And she put the little sad face. And see, I read that as in like, oh my gosh, you know, like I'm trying really hard to support my staff. However, if it continues to being closed, we're not making revenue. We can't push out orders. So how do we make the money to pay them? But she's over here still paying them. And obviously we all know Makeup Geek is nowhere near worth as much as Sephora. You know what I'm saying? So it's things like this. And I understand everyone's argument of, you know what, big corporations, they have a job to do, they're a business. But look at the head of the person, or look at the CEO, the head of the company. And when you see them having almost $100 billion in their bank, it's a very frustrating feeling to sit there and say, oh, you know what? We can't afford to pay you guys, but I have $98 billion in the bank. Like, you guys can obviously do the math. Clearly, I'm just too dumb to do all that math. But you guys can do the math and see that if they are, let's say they're employing, because they said right now they have 9,000 plus employees. So let's say they have 9,001 employees currently employed. So let's just say that they let go 10,000 employees, okay? Y'all can do the math and find out what the standard minimum wage is across the United States and see what these people are getting paid, and seeing what a tiny drop in the bucket that would be for the CEO himself to come forward and just pay them. You know what I'm saying? So here's my personal opinion on what I think is happening. I have no factual proof of this, nothing like that. It's just my opinion. As we all know, a law was signed into effect here in the United States that's going to give us like $1,200, and $1 trillion is going to unemployment and things like that. What I personally think is happening during this time is Sephora is saying, you know what, we're going to let go of our part-time employees, and then they can go ahead and file for unemployment, because obviously the government is putting $1 trillion. Oh, I don't know if it's $1 trillion, but maybe it's like, I don't know, maybe it's like, I don't know, a certain amount of $1 billion, maybe $300 billion. I don't know the exact amount. I forgot in the article, but y'all know it's billions of dollars that are going into the unemployment, so people can basically go and file for unemployment. So I think Sephora is saying, you know what, let's let these part-time employees go, and they can go file for unemployment while the government is paying the bill, and we're over here saving money from obviously not paying them. And I think that that's just really, really grimy. And I think at the end of the day, we have to look at greed. And I have to say, I truly, truly hope that Ulta doesn't end up doing this same thing, because you guys know Ulta, like, I've just always loved Ulta way more than Sephora. Like, you guys can check my previous videos. I always say that. I always talk about I prefer to shop at Ulta because I love their point system, and I love, like, their customer service. To me, honestly, in my area specifically, their customer service is better than Sephora. But then not only just that, like I said, the point system really encourages me to shop there because I can get whatever I want. I love Gucci Guilty by Gucci, obviously, or I love Y by YSL, my colognes. And whenever I buy enough makeup, I get my colognes for free, as to where Sephora, I actually mentioned this in a recent video now that I'm thinking about it, where Sephora, you spend $1,000 and you get a little sample. You know what I mean? It's just not something that I really like to do. But also another thing that I want to mention too, I thought I had a tweet of it, but I can't find it, but some people were also saying that Sephora encourages you basically as an employee to go to cosmetology school, and if you do, they'll end up funding it if you graduate, if you get your cosmetology license. And I'm seeing quite a few people saying that they ended up enrolling within this program to go to cosmetology school, and I guess they pay the upfront. I don't know like the whole truth to this. They pay the upfront cost, and as soon as they get their license, then Sephora will fund them the money for it. And a lot of people are saying, well, what do I do now? I signed up for this, so now I'm going to be in debt, obviously, with the cosmetology school, which is obviously thousands of dollars. And now that they're being fired from Sephora, what do they do, you know? That's why I say things like this. I'm sorry. It's just really, it's really frustrating, you know, as a human being to see this happen and see the greed that goes on in the world. And I wish that we can have a sit-down conversation with the CEO of LVMH and the CEO of Sephora and say, you guys are literally multi-billionaires. Why can't you continue paying your employees? It's just so grimy and anyways, so that's all the tea on that. You guys obviously can form your own opinion. And like I said, and I'll continue to say, I 100%, like 100% wholeheartedly understand a small business not being able to pay their employees or having to let their employees go. I get it. But when you're worth that much money and you make $4 billion in 1 year, you guys, $4 billion, and the CEO of LVMH that owns Sephora, he's worth $98 billion, the third richest man in the entire world. You can't continue paying your employees. That's where greed comes in, and that's where you have to say, no, it's not okay for you to do this. And I'm really, really sorry to those of you who are employed by Sephora and were let go during this time. I think that it is just so wrong, and hopefully Ulta will be hiring as soon as they open, because that's just so, it's just so shady. Anyways, y'all, I want to know your guys' thoughts and opinions. If you guys have any other facts, also, please let me know about the cosmetology program, because I didn't really do my research with that, and I would like to know more about it. But you guys know my videos here are a conversation space. They're not everything spoken out of actual 100% facts. So I like hearing you guys' opinions and giving me some feedback so that way I can learn about it as well too. All right, you guys, I'll catch you guys in my next video. Peace out, Girl Scout.